Hi there. My name is Allison. What are your names?
Maura.
Maura, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Peter.
Peter, nice to meet you.
You too.
So what brings you both here today?
We've been together for about 4 years now,
Mhm.
and we've been through a lot, and we've recently moved in about a year or so ago. And Peter has now been given the opportunity to move to a whole new country, but
Wow.
our family is here. I work in the school system. My job is here. Our family is here, but
This is a really good opportunity for me, and I don't want to be tied down to one place just because. I mean, it's not like back in the day when you moved and you could only like write letters to each other. I feel like you can still have a connection with people, but Moore doesn't feel that way.
no. I come from a very big family. Everyone's here. We're all within 5 miles of each other. I have a couple relatives who aren't doing too well, and I feel like I would be abandoning them. I don't want to hold him back, but we can't just pick up and move. We just can't. Because I would be giving up my sick mother. I would be giving up my career, and I feel really torn because I don't want to ruin this opportunity for him. But I can't just pick up and go to Germany. I can't do that.
Okay, wow, this is a pretty big thing that you guys are being faced with right now. I can imagine that it must be really difficult to be faced with such a decision. Peter, tell me a little bit more about the job.
It would be at the American Embassy in Berlin. I would be a diplomatic attaché. Just mainly working with how the hospital there, because there's a huge hospital in Berlin, and coordinating with the American doctors who live there and their hospital, like where they're from originally, and like research between the two areas, between like Seattle, Boston, New York, all those big research-based hospitals in America with the research that they're also doing in Berlin. So I would just be kind of like the point person between all of that. And it's a really big opportunity. It's a really hard job, and it pays really well. I'm really interested in it. It'd be a really good career move for me.
Does sound like a very amazing opportunity. And Maura, tell me, what do you do?
I am a teacher in the school system.
Okay.
I work with the second grade. I've been there for a few years now, and I started my career as a teacher before I even met Peter.
Okay.
So and I completely understand trying to do this for his career and everything, but am I going to give up mine for him? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Peter, can you speak on that a little bit?
I totally understand about like the career aspect, and how it would be way harder for her to find a job in Germany. Like, even though there are a bunch of Americans over there, finding a job in those schools would be difficult, because there are fewer children, and fewer American children who speak English. But at the same time, I don't want to hold myself back because of Maura's interest in teaching, and her career. She's really dedicated herself to it, and I'm really proud of her for all of her work in it. But it's not something that Boston is just not where I see myself anymore, because at least for the time being, I mean, I would love to move back to Boston. It's my home, but I'm not going to stay in Boston for the entirety of my career.
Okay. Maura, do you have any thoughts on that?
It's not just even the career path, it's just our families are here. And like I said, I have sick family members. I can't just leave them. And I depend on them, and they depend on me. I have this huge network here that I can't just leave. I have too many people relying on me that just, if I left them, it would all kind of fall apart.
Tell me a little bit more about that, when you just used the phrase, it would all fall apart. So speak a little bit on that, because I'm hearing that your role in your family unit is very important to you. You know, it sounds like, you know, the fact that you know, I'm hearing you say that so many people rely on you. Does that sort of make up a lot of your identity, would you say?
Oh, definitely. I'm the oldest of 3, and my other siblings, they're great, but they're not all there. They're not as responsible as I have to be, which makes sense because I am the oldest. but they aren't as in tune to like what my mother needs. She's older now, she's not working, she's not feeling as well as she has been in the past, and they're just younger. It doesn't click. They don't notice these things because they are young and they're dealing with their own careers and their own lives and their own families. That if I left, I really am afraid that they won't watch her like she needs to be watched. And not to say that she can't take care of herself, but they won't notice things that I'm able to notice.
Okay.
And I worry for her.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing you say is that, I mean, it sounds like you take a lot of pride in being sort of that primary caretaker in your family.
Mhm.
It sounds like you're sort of the glue that kind of holds everything together,
Mhm.
and that role is important. Peter, can you speak on that a little bit about about her role in the family and?
I do agree with like her immediate family, like she is the most responsible one. I love her siblings, but they aren't nearly as responsible as her. But at the same time, I feel like if she left, they would be able to step up. I mean, Maura's been taking care of her family for years, and I feel like they've kind of used her as a crutch. And that when push comes to shove, I feel like her brother and sister could and would be able to step up. So I'm kind of seeing it from an outside perspective because I haven't been involved in their lives for nearly as long, obviously, but I do feel that Maura is more scared than she needs to be about the situation.
Okay. Maura, can you speak a little bit on that?
I feel like I have good reason to be scared though. Like Johnny is not all the way there. You know he had a drug problem for a long time, and he's not okay. And Bridget, God love her, she's the youngest in the family. She's just in the beginning of her 20s. She's just getting out of college. She doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. She's interested in partying and being young and stupid. I don't have the faith in them to step up. I don't. So I feel like I have good reason to be scared to leave my mother in their care for that. They won't take care of her like she needs to be.
Okay. And so Peter, I heard you say that you feel as though if Maura were to kind of take the step with you and leave the family on their own for a little bit, you feel that her siblings would step up and take on that role.
Yeah, I would more so her sister than her brother. But I mean, at the same time, Maura does come from a huge family, and they talk to each other all the time. I come from a very different situation. I have family members who live across the country. I see my brother maybe like 3 or 4 times a year. So it's a very different situation. So I'm seeing it from a completely different situation. At the way that Maura's family works is completely alien to me, to see someone who's so codependent on each other, and it's really nice, and I really respect them for that. But I think it would be a very different situation to say if like my mother was sick and I was leaving. It'd be completely different because I would be literally the only one in the area who could really take care of her. Rather, Maura's family, they have so many people. They have such a great network with each other, and I feel like none of really Maura's family has ever really left the area, so you don't really know what's going to happen, and it is scary, because you don't know. I totally understand that, but I feel like at the same time, it's not just your siblings who's taking care of your mother. She has several brothers and sisters, and her youngest sister is they are so close to each other that I feel like nothing's really going to be missed because they see each other all the time. And you guys also have a great network of neighbors outside of your family. You guys are really close to everybody in your neighborhood, and not just your neighborhood, but your other siblings' neighborhoods. You guys know so many people that I feel like I don't want to say you're making a bigger deal out of it than it is, but I feel like you're kind of focused on just your aspect of it rather than the community. I totally understand that, and I love your mother with all my heart, but I feel like you're focusing on one single aspect of how you help your mother, and not how other people could help your mother and how they will help your mother.
But they all have their own lives. As connected as we all are, they all have their own lives. That they have their own mothers to take care of. As the oldest, I'm supposed to be there to take care of her. And she took care of me.
But she also took care of your other siblings and other people in your family, and I feel like
There is.
I feel like other people are, but you were taking care of your mother and your family at a younger age than your siblings are now.
But as the oldest, I had to step up for that.
And I realize that, and I feel like, though, your other siblings would understand that if you really discuss this with them, that I'm not going to be here for, like, however long we're gone, which is not going to be longer than 18 months.
I mean,
And, like, you will be able to, like, come back.
It was one thing if we were moving up to New Hampshire or New York, we would be a drive away. But this is an ocean separating us. An ocean. God forbid something happens to her, it's going to take me 10 hours to get home. And that's if we even have the money to get home. And I'm so proud of you that you're able to get this opportunity. I just don't know if I can go along with you, and I don't want to lose you because I can't go with you.
Yeah, that's kind of the crux of the situation. Like, we don't know.
So I'm hearing a lot, there was a lot of really important information there. And what I'm hearing is a lot of understanding, a lot of validation. It's very evident that you two care very deeply about one another, and it's evident that you would like to sustain this relationship and make it last. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm hearing is also sort of a disconnect in terms of the perspective of the situation. So, for example, Maura, your reasoning behind not being ready or prepared to take this step are completely validated, and Peter has validated that to you. But Peter, what I heard you say earlier, and I want to kind of travel a little bit back to that, is, you mentioned that, your family dynamics, your individual family dynamics are very different. You come from a large family. You mentioned how your family is a little bit smaller. So, but I did hear you say that if you had an ailing parent, it would be a completely different situation. So I guess what I want to hear is, maybe reverse the situation a little bit. If Maura, had an opportunity to travel overseas, but you were in the situation that she was in, what do you think that your reaction would be, or your response?
I feel like if my mother was, like, sick and she was alone, because she's not, it would be a slightly different situation because our families aren't as close. But at the same time, my mother would, like, kill me if I ever had a job opportunity I didn't take it to stay home with her. If it was if it might be different if I was going to a place that was, like, super, like, dangerous. Like, if I was going to become a diplomat in, like, Iraq or Afghanistan, she would kill me to do that in the first place. But it'd be also much harder to get home. But if it was something like Europe or, like, South America or Canada, she would be more invested in me leaving. And I understand that, like, this is a job opportunity for me and not Maura, and thus, like, her mom is not going to be, like, pushing her to go for her career.
Yeah.
But at the same time, while my family doesn't have as much of a network to work with, my family is much more invested in our individual careers and, like, doing the best we can career-wise, not necessarily, like, building relationships. We just don't do that, and, like, there's nothing wrong with either way.
Yeah.
I have like, when we were, like, younger and I was first meeting Maura's family, I was extremely envious about how her family connected because I never had that. But at the same time, I'm trying to put myself in her shoes completely, and I can't, because if my mother was in the same situation, it still would be a very different situation, because my mother's reaction to it would be completely different.
Yeah. And my mom's not holding us back by any chance. She wants Peter. She loves Peter. She wants him to do amazing things, and she knows he's capable of doing amazing things. And God love her, she wants us to go because she doesn't want to hold us back. But I don't know if I can leave her in the state that she's in. And yeah, we have all these amazing people around us, and I'm very lucky that I have all these amazing people around us. But I just don't think that they could tune into her care like she needs it. So, bit of a standstill.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very difficult situation. I think, many couples definitely face things like this, in which, one has an incredible opportunity or something comes up with the other one, and a mutual decision needs to be made, that's going to best benefit the relationship. So, I mean, for right now, what I'm seeing is, I mean, this kind of communication is extremely important, and I'm curious because I'm curious to know how much this communication takes place outside of therapy. So how often do you two spend time together, sit down, engage in conversations?
Well, we're constantly on the move.
Yeah.
He's very, very important at his job, and me being a teacher, putting in the long hours and then dealing with my mother and my family and everything. When we're able to finally see each other, we try to spend as much time as we can. But now with this opportunity, we've been fighting so much about it, it's been ruining the few moments that we have together. And I don't want that, especially if he goes and I don't go. The last few times I'm going to be with him in person, it's going to be us arguing. And then we get so mad at each other, we're not even in the same room. I don't want that for us.
Yeah, I agree.
So you two are very motivated to sustain this relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 4 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Very long time. I haven't had cats that long.
So I want to get a little bit more into, you know, sort of the times. So I know that you mentioned how there isn't really a lot of time to see each other and to sit down, and kind of, I mean, when was the last time that you two had an outing or spent some real quality time together? Can you remember a time where that happened?
We try to do it like almost every weekend.
Yeah.
We like usually we don't, and like I mean we try to like work around schedules. Like if she's visiting her mother on the weekend, I'm usually coming with her.
Yeah.
And like yeah, that's mostly time to spend with her mother, but like we do work with that, and even like after we'll like usually go out to dinner or like see a movie or something like that. But we try to like kind of at the same time I'm always on call on weekends, like something might happen, so I might have to go in, so it doesn't always work. And during weekdays it's hard because she goes into work earlier than I do, because she has to get to the school. I come home later than she does, and by the time like we've had dinner, she still has to like correct paper, like not paper, so like whatever second graders do, and like prepare for the next day. And I'm also like sometimes I have to like take my work home with me, and I have to work on stuff at home because I've just had so much of it. So the weekdays are very difficult for us. But the weekends we try, but at the same time we both like there might be things like the school might be having an event that next week, someone has to like help prepare with that, or bring stuff home from work, and I might have to bring stuff home from work. So we're trying to at least make at least like one night where we do like an outing, or we do something like not big but like out of the norm. But at the same time it is really hard.
Very hard. We try to take the moments when we can, especially the weekdays. By the time he comes home, I'm exhausted and I'm passed out. Like, we try the best we can. Saturdays are definitely our days, or we try to make them our days. But there's so much, we're never home during the week that we try to get everything done on the weekends. Whether it's laundry, cleaning, food shopping, taking care of my mom, we try to do the best we can.
So to hear both of you sort of talking about that kind of routine, you know, Peter, you were touching upon how certain elements of Maura's job and your job as well, and how you know, how certain aspects of the job definitely take time away from being able to be together fully, more than, you know, just kind of a few minutes. But I was watching your facial expressions, your mannerisms, your overall presentation, and I'm really getting the sense that you're both extremely supportive of one another in terms of your work prospects. You know, it wasn't, because a lot of the times I will get couples in who, and you know, when we touch upon the whole job thing, and there's a lot of frustration and anger and animosity when I have each person talking about the job. Normally, a lot of the times it's like, you know, I'm really mad that he comes home so late, or I'm really mad that she, you know, is always on call, and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm really getting the sense that there's a sense of support, and you two are mutually very content with one another in terms of your work prospects. Like, it sounds like you're proud of her. It sounds like you're very, very understanding of the work she has to do. So it doesn't sound as though your jobs are causing much of a strain in the relationship. It's more of, I think that it's more of, you're being faced with this very difficult decision. But overall, I'm getting a sense that consistent support and that consistent, encouragement for one another. I mean, that's pretty significant to me. Can you comment a little bit more on that?
Well, I was originally I have a biology major, and I was originally going to become a biology teacher in like a high school, and that was my idea. But it just happened that one of my professors knew someone who thought I'd be really good working in Boston in the medical field rather than as a teacher, and so I took that opportunity rather than going in and getting my master's in teaching like Maura did. And then my career kind of like snowballed. So I was originally going to do what Maura does, so I have no issues with that. I think that's part of the reason, because I was going to have my life do my career like Maura was in high school or middle school rather than elementary ed, but we would have had the same hours then.
And even though we aren't in the same world right now, what he's done is amazing things. He's done amazing things. And I can never hold that against him, that he's making such an impact globally. Like, who am I to hold him back? I'm very, very lucky that he respects what I do, and I'm, like, in awe of what he's able to do. In awe. And that the fact that you do have this amazing opportunity, like, I feel terribly guilty that I'm holding him back in this.
So that's how you're feeling right now? You're feeling like you're the
I'm holding him back, and I don't want to. But then I don't want to be without him for like 18 months. That's a long time. Very long time. And it's very, very fast. It's not, like I said earlier, it's not a simple drive like to New York or something like that. We won't be able to see each other on the weekends. And I mean, we're already somewhat seeing each other on the weekends already, even when we live with each other. It's not going to be that. It's going to be months and months and months.
And how long do you two have to make this decision?
We have like 30 days, really.
Yeah, it's now.
Yeah.
The answer is now. And we're just at a standstill.
And can we touch a little bit more on how that is affecting the relationship overall? So have you noticed, either one of you can speak on this, can you give me a recent scenario of how much this issue and this need to make this decision has strained the relationship? Can you think of a recent time where you were definitely being affected by it? If it could have been maybe an argument, or not even necessarily a verbal exchange, it could have just been a scenario of complete disconnect.
You can answer this.
It was probably right before this is the reason we actually came to you. About 2 weekends ago, we were supposed to go, oh god, I don't even remember where we were actually going to go, because we never made it there. We might have been going to like a museum or something. It must have been a museum.
Must have been.
And it was on a Saturday, which is like our day, and we started the conversation like in the morning. We were gonna because our plan was, I found out about this job like 2 months ago, and we were supposed to, our original plan was, when we sat down to talk about it, was like talk about it a little bit at a time, and see if we can move anything, if we can like get the conversation going in a different way, rather than just having like a 3-hour yelling match at each other.
Yeah.
And on that Saturday, it turned into a 3-hour yelling match at each other, and we both,
ugly.
yeah, it was ugly. We both left the apartment, and we didn't see each other until probably like 9 or 10 o'clock that night, because
we wouldn't talk.
We didn't
we
talk,
couldn't talk,
and we just didn't talk to each other when we got back to the apartment, and and then on Sunday we were both so busy. We finally talked around like 7 o'clock the next night, and just realized we needed to like talk to someone else about it, because we couldn't do this ourselves.
No, we can't. We can't make this decision just with the two of us.
Okay. So what I do have to tell you is that, unfortunately, I'm not going to necessarily be able to make the decision for you. I mean, what I'm hearing is that I'm definitely hearing that there are pros and cons to this situation. Mora's stance is, I'm not in a position to leave my family right now. My role as the caretaker means a lot to me. I have been doing this for years, and and it seems as though you kept your family. I mean, what do you see as the benefits of you being that caretaker? Do you feel as though you've
I really do enjoy taking care of people.
Mhm.
And I know Peter feels that I kind of put myself out there
Mhm.
and I give too much of myself, and then I don't take care of myself like I should because I'm taking care of others so much. But I do enjoy taking care of them. That's why I became a teacher, because I do enjoy taking care of people and helping them and helping them grow. With my mother, she's just been amazing and been through a lot, and the least I can do is help her now. But so I really do enjoy taking care of them.
Mhm.
I know he feels that I don't take care of myself as much as I should.
Can you
But
speak a little bit on that, Peter?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like joking, like, I don't know, for like years, like Moore's like been getting like the presents for her mother for like Mother's Day and Christmas, and like her siblings are supposed to be chipping in, but like we joke about how much money they technically owe her for like these presents, about how Maura plans all the events, and like her siblings are supposed to like just show up at like this time, and like they're late, and like all they need to do for like her birthday is just to be there on time, and they can't even do that. And it's mainly her brother. Her sister is, I want to say, more responsible, but at the same time, she's never had to been pushed to be responsible. Her brother, he's just, I don't want to say hot. He's a hot mess. Like
he's a mess.
He's a mess. So like I completely understand that aspect of it, but like
I can't leave my mother to him. He can barely take care of himself.
Like if this was a situation where like she didn't have her sister, or like her and her mother and her sister weren't like, her aunt weren't as close, and it was just John, I would be like, oh, absolutely not, you can't leave. This is like, and like no way would this ever work out. But yeah, Maura carries the cross, like that she does. And I've tried to get her to push for more responsibility amongst her family members, and I mean, she's kind of tried, but at the same time, I don't think she's tried as much as she could have, because she's scared, and I mean, she has the right to be scared about it. But it is kind of frustrating.
Are you able to speak a little on that, Maura?
I just don't trust them. You can love a family but not like them and not trust them. And I don't trust my brother. And yes, my mom is very close to her siblings, but they have dealt with their own things, and they're not. And I'm not saying like I'm Superwoman and strong enough to take care of her, but they're not. They're not in a good state of mind themselves to take care of her. As big as we are, we're all kind of broken in our own ways, and we're kind of just holding on to each other. So with my brother and my sister, I know Bridget could step up eventually. It's just right now she's young and she's enjoying being young, and she doesn't know how to be an adult right now. And Johnny he doesn't cue into all these things. He doesn't process them. And my aunt, she loves my mom, but she's not capable of doing that either. And her other siblings are just older, dealing with their own stuff. It's just I don't see anyone taking care of her. And that's my biggest thing. No one's going to take care of her.
It's a very valid fear, especially when you've taken on that role. But can I ask when the last time that you did something for yourself was that was completely, it was just all for you, like it wasn't for anybody else?
I got my nails done last month.
There you go.
That was it. That was nice. And now, I'll paint them on Sundays. But I don't know, that's about it. That's about it.
When was the last time that you two did something really, really special together? Can you recall that?
It's been a while.
Yeah, we haven't really gone on vacation in a really long time. I mean, because like even though like Maura technically has summers off, she still does stuff with the school.
Yeah.
And I'm working year round, and I can take like vacation time off, but like it's difficult. And when we we do vacation, we actually usually vacation with like her family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We haven't like done anything by ourselves. I don't even remember the last time we like went away for a long weekend.
Maybe in the very beginning.
Yeah, I think we went to Old Orchard like years ago, but like we haven't done
Yeah.
that in a long time.
When we first started dating.
So what I'm hearing throughout so far this session is your individual family dynamics are very important, and they're very, they play a huge role in the maintenance of this relationship, and it's very interesting to me. We touched upon in the beginning of the session how, Maura, your role is important, and it sounds as though your role has something to do with your role with your family specifically has something to do um, with the success of this relationship. Even though it has, there are still, however you choose to define success, you might not feel that it's successful right now, but it sounds as though you two both carry certain qualities that come from those very different family dynamics
Mm-hmm.
that really, really do play a positive role in this relationship. So, Maura, it sounds like your need to care and your need to, to care for others, to be that person that sort of holds everything together. It sounds as though that has made your relationship work in a sense. I mean, Peter, would you be able to comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like while I like worry about more not caring about her like self-care as much, at the same time because I'm so focused at work, I don't do self-care, and Maura's definitely there to make sure I do that, even at the sacrifice of herself. And it took me a long time to realize that she was doing that, and that the things that I was calling her out on with her family, she was doing the same things with me, and I wasn't noticing that, because I can get like so like wrapped up in like my work that I like don't even realize like I haven't like if I'm like working from home on a Saturday or Sunday and we're both there, and Maura might be working, but she might realize that I just like haven't eaten the entire day.
He'll go days without
Or like
eating.
yeah, and I was like and like I'm just like oh I'll like pour myself a glass of water and just like won't drink it. I'll just be sitting there, and Maura's like, are you gonna what's happening there? Are you gonna do that? And because I poured it like 5 hours ago, and I like might be like dehydrated and might be hot out, and because I'm just so focused in it. Or that like I said I was gonna do something for myself, like I was gonna read a book or like something like that, and like she's like, oh, have you ever done that? Like
Yeah.
because I just never did it because I was so focused on working at home.
And how does that make you feel to sort of hear her kind of give you these little reminders? They're pretty, that they might not seem like a big deal to many people, but they're a big deal to you.
They are like, and
they're a big deal to you.
They weren't a big deal because I would usually brush them off, and until I realized like what she was doing, like really, and like I think that's what makes her like such a good teacher, and like so good at like everything she does, because she has like this innate like ability to care for others, and I think that's like an amazing thing about her, and it's a huge deal for me that she's able to do that, just like off it up, because I can't. I don't have the instincts to do that.
Well, you're too busy focusing on bigger things and making a bigger impact. And if I can support him while he's supporting other bigger things than just us, like that's just a little bit that I can help him with.
Well, now, Maura, I understand definitely what you're saying, and I think that Peter might too. But Peter, can you comment a little bit on how she used the phrase "bigger things"?
Yeah, she like when there's like like she says that about basically everyone, and she says that about like Bridget. She wants to like focus on like being a kid, and like Maura didn't really get that chance to do that. So like, why does Bridget get to do that? And like, her brother needs to focus on like getting better, but like at the same time, like he's like, why is it Maura's job to be the one to like care for him while he has to also care for himself? And like, I feel like she's putting herself down in a way that she's not as important as the people around her, and that it's her job to like make the people like feel better who are around her. And while that's a great thing, she should also take pride in like that and focus on her impact rather than everybody else's impact on the world.
It's a very compelling statement, Maura. How do you feel about hearing that?
I mean, I'm happy taking care of people. I really do enjoy that. That I can potentially be a part of something bigger, because I can help someone. Even if it's just a little thing, just making him eat when he has gone 10 hours without it. Just a little thing. I enjoy helping people. And I know he thinks that I don't see myself, that I don't like see myself as bigger than I am, that I don't think I have an impact. But I feel by helping someone else, that is making an impact.
And that makes you feel good.
Yes.
You get something out of that.
I know, like, I can potentially screw myself over by doing that and burn myself out, but I do enjoy helping people. I do enjoy it.
So so it sounds like what I'm hearing is the benefits of helping others sort of outweigh your own personal happiness.
Yes.
But I think it's also important to remember that our long-term happiness is very important. And while, I totally hear you saying that, you get a sense of pride and happiness out of helping others. But I think that what I hear Peter saying is that it might not provide long-term happiness. It you might burn yourself out, as you stated, or you might, not be living up to your complete potential and being able to branch out and grasp opportunities that come up because of this sort of need to care for others. Peter,
Yes.
can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I know that Maura likes taking care of others, but I feel like she doesn't take real pride in it, and I feel like she doesn't, like, the way she says, like, the way that she communicates it makes it sound like she's, like, degrading herself, and, like, she doesn't take pride in herself in doing that. When she says people are doing important work and stuff like that, it's just, I don't know, the syntax of it is just not, it's not something that someone who sees themselves as a very important person would say, and that's what concerns me.
I mean, you're working with global leaders.
Yeah,
that's
but there's I mean, like, and I got this great opportunity, but at the same time, like, there are other people who can do this job, and
but they chose you to go to
and
Germany.
I realize that, but like, but like, I feel like you don't see yourself nearly as, and like, while I'm working on like more of like a macro state, your work in a school is very important, and like, you do touch like so many people's lives, and with like direct work, and I'm extremely jealous of that because I don't do direct work. I do all this like indirect stuff that may look bigger, but you actually get to see like the fruits of your labors, and I basically just see reports and like can talk to people and be like, oh yeah, it was great that this research got to go through, but like, you get to like, I don't know, like you can get such like direct like feedback and like from the people you impact, and I can't get that. And I feel like you should focus on like how great that is, because I mean, you work with so many students and you don't know what they're going to be doing with their lives. Like, and what impact you had on them. And I mean, and your impact is like so far, like, it's so much more long term. I mean, because like the way that like you have impacted a child could change how they are as an adult and like what they can do. And like, while yes, I'm like helping people like with medical issues, I don't know, I feel like they're too different to compare, but at the same time they're just as important as each other. And I feel like you don't think that way.
Well, like, what you just said, that how I can watch the kids and they can grow up, and hopefully the 1 year that they spent in my classroom could impact them. That's truly what I get out of it. Like, that's what I like. That's what I enjoy. So, yeah.
I get you enjoy it, but I feel like you don't weigh it as much as you put as much weight into it as you think that like my job is. You don't think it's as important, and I think that your job is just as important as my job, and that your career, like, while you do, like, make less money than me, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much less money, and that you do, like, contribute a huge thing in the world and in the area. I mean, like, our neighbor,
Skills are different.
well, like, well, no, but, like, our, like, but, like, think, like, the people we know most of our, like, our friends and, like, the family members, we know them through you. Like, you barely meet my family members, 'cause I barely meet my family members. And, like, our neighbors know you, they have no idea who the hell I am. Like, unless you, like, drag me out to, like, some, like, thing. And, like, you know people, like, throughout the city, and, like, you have just so many more connections in Boston, and I mean, Boston's a great city to have connections in. I mean, like, there's a lot of opportunities, like, not necessarily career-wise, but, like, I feel like you can do so much more impact in, like, one place, and making one place the best it can be can help other places, especially in a city like Boston, which is such a global city.
So I can't leave.
But I feel like you could, like, there's so many people who, like, you could learn so much also by being in a different city. And, like, you could bring that back. I mean, like, the German education system is so different, there's something you could learn from that and bring it back to your schools.
But I'm happy in Boston. Everything I've worked for and everyone in my life is in Boston.
I don't like know what to say to that, 'cause
Mhm.
I have family in, like, Chicago, Hawaii, Alabama, like, Japan, like, I have family members everywhere, and I just don't. And, like, while we see each other much less, I feel like it's still, like, I, like, really don't know how to deal with that.
And nothing against your family, you know, I have always enjoyed being with them. I can't imagine being so far away. Just in having it all be on, like, through, like, a relationship through an email or a phone. But that's not what I grew up with. It would just be random relatives showing up at random times. And that was okay, and that was expected. But I can't imagine having a relationship through a phone, or through Skype or something like that. That's not the same as sitting in someone's presence.
That's very true. And it sounds like more what I'm hearing you say is you're feeling as though you would not be happy if you made this move.
No.
That would really affect your.
Like, go there and know no one. And I know I'll have him, but he'll be so busy learning the new job and meeting new coworkers and figuring that all out, and that's going to be stress on him, and he doesn't need the stress of me trying to find my own place. Because I'm not going to know anyone. And there's no guarantee I'll even find a job over there.
Do you have anything to say to that, Peter?
I mean, like, I don't know about, like, the Skype thing. I feel like the other issue is that I'm more comfortable with the long distance relationship that Mona is. She's more concerned about it, like, 'cause I have in the past, like, kept connections going when I have not seen someone in a long time, or, like, just seen them through Skype or phone or email. And Mora's never done that with anyone, and so I personally feel like I could handle our relationship being away, where I was living away for 18 months, like, coming back as much as I could, that it could work, but Mora doesn't feel that way.
No. I mean, we're able to sit, when we're at home, we're both working, we're able to sit next to each other in silence. And those moments are very precious to me, that we don't have to talk, but we're just together. We're not going to be able to have that. And it's more than just, like, us talking, but we're together. We're able to do things together, even if it's just sitting in silence and working side by side and doing what we have to do. We're not going to have that. And then I'm worried where he said before that I do try to take care of him. I am very dedicated to him. And what if he doesn't take care of himself over there? That water's just going to sit there, and you're not going to eat. So I worry about him growing over there by himself. Like, I want to be able to support him and take care of him over there, but then I also have people over here that I need to take care of.
Peter, do you feel as though if you were to go over there, could you take care of yourself?
I mean, like, I would survive. Like, I mean, like, I am, like, healthier living with Mora, like, a person, but I mean, like, I did survive through like college and everything like without her. So I feel like she's making herself more of a crutch than she needs to be, and like I do use her as a crutch, and I feel like I would have to like learn how to like live by myself again, really, but I feel like it's not as, I feel like that aspect isn't as big of a deal as she's concerned it is.
It's almost like you're okay to leave me.
But like I wouldn't be leaving you, and like I feel like our definitions of like leaving each other are two completely different things. Like I went to school and I was like very far away from the area, and I was perfectly fine with it. But I mean, like Maura's literally lived in Boston for her entire life. She's left the country once to go to London for a week, and that was it. Like she's only been like she basically lived in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, like, and she went to New Hampshire once a year, and that was it. And I feel like she's so concerned about everything being together, and like that's where your life is, where I don't see it that way. I see that we live in like a global community, and that I can live in Berlin for 18 months, but at the same time I would get like generous time off, and I would always be coming back to Boston. I'm not like going to be vacationing around Europe or like globetrotting. I would spend all my vacation in Boston with her.
With all the money to come back.
But like I feel like that wouldn't be as much as an issue because this is such a pay increase.
We've always talked about getting a house.
And I realize that, but like after these like 18 months, like there's an extremely good chance that I would be moving back to Boston and getting a higher paying job than I have right now.
But what if they want to keep you? What if they want you to go to another country?
Then I could, but it's not like I have to go where they tell me to go. I feel like I could even leave. I would have this would be such a resume booster that I could leave state work and work for like an NGO or something like that rather than work for the federal government. I could work in Boston in the medical field. I mean, like, it's not like there's like no hospitals in Boston. I mean, it's the medical capital of the United States. Like I could easily find a job working what I do in research at like Harvard or Tufts or MIT or even like not in the medical field.
This is too many what ifs. There's too many what ifs.
Sounds like Maura, hearing that statement, it sounds like you want a sense of security. You need to know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You would rather have a plan, like a timeline of events
I need a
that
plan.
you can rely on.
I mean, I want something stable. I would like to be stable.
Stability means a lot to you.
It does.
And from what I heard throughout the session is, you know, your role throughout your life taking care of your family members did provide a sense of stability.
Mhm.
And it sounds like you would like to continue that sense of stability.
I would like to.
Well, Peter, I'm hearing you say is that you're sort of more content with the unknown.
Well, I just don't see I don't know, I feel like Maura thinks things are more stable than they are. I don't like see it that way. I mean, when I went to college, I went, and it was right when like the financial crisis happened, and people who thought that they would get 4 years of an education at a good school suddenly found out in their last year that they couldn't afford it anymore, even though their families had done all the right things. So I don't see the world as much of a stable place as I think more like being able to like live in a community makes it more stable. I don't see it that way. That had a big impact on me, that even if you're successful at your job, you can still get completely screwed over. I think that we should take the opportunities that we're given, and rather than do what necessarily is always a safe option, like maybe take a little risk and something that will make you more employable is better.
Do you remember the last time you took a risk, Maura?
Dating him.
Which was like 4 years ago.
Before Peter, I didn't date for the sake of dating. I wanted someone that I could build a life with. And I just got lucky.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're drawing to the end of our session, you know, I got some really great information, and your ability to communicate is very exceptional. You two definitely are able to communicate in a very healthy way. And if this were to continue, you know, outside of the session, and then if we were to come back next week, I want to kind of get a little bit of a report of how that communication goes. You know, it's not an easy decision, and unfortunately not one person is going to be able to make that decision for you. There are certainly pros and cons. This move and this huge transition potentially is going to affect both of you in many individual ways, and it's not easy. But so, you know, what I would suggest is if you two could maybe isolate a time before our next session to sort of sit down and kind of just have a conversation like the three of us did, essentially, and we'll see how that goes, and then you guys can come back and let me know next week.
Okay.
It was very nice meeting you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.